This is my smiling hibiscus friends welcoming you to my YouTube channel. This garden tour was requested by a dear subscriber. This time in South Florida, we record temperature that gets up to 92 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit some days. I grow my plants without fertilizer. Our backyards in Miami are basically manually filled with rocks and a little topsoil. So to plant anything, you need to break open the chunks of rocks and add both organic soil. So let's see what we have in our little garden today. It's a beautiful sunny day, so I said to bring you guys in and show you a little overview of my garden. This is scent leaves and charm. This is a classic pepper soup ingredient, what we call Nigerian pepper soup. You can also use this vegetable in your stews. You can also use it in your smoothies. It's a very good detoxifier. This potting soil here, we don't grow anything just by opening the soil and putting plants. Everything we plant here, we get the soil, because the soils here are not the soils that the type of soil we have down home. This is aloe vera. We're approaching the summer season in Miami, and it's usually pretty hot. This is potted habanero peppers. I've harvested quite a couple of peppers from this little plant you see here. More aloe vera. More aloe vera. This one is under the shade, and you can see how green it is. The ones outside, the sun is not being merciful to it. So I have quite a lot that the whole of this place was filled up with aloe vera. I had to take off some and give them away. What you're seeing here is my bitter leaves. This is my bitter leaf. This is one of the plants, and this plant does so well here in Florida that if you leave it, you can turn to a big tree. So what I usually do, every few months I cut it to the base, cut it to this portion, because I don't want it to be that bushy. So I usually cut it. I compost the leaves, because so much can I cook, so much can I use per time. So most of the time I just cut the leaves and then compost it and add it as manure to my plants. When I also want to cook, I want to use it, I could also do so. So this one is nearing bringing it down to a manageable size, like a shrub, a short shrub. So I have harvested these ones. This is habanero. These habanero peppers, I've been harvesting this for the last 1 month. This is chili, and I have some critters. I have some critters. Apparently they are sharing some of the peppers with me. So this is my very lovely Scotch bonnet peppers. Very fragrant, very hot and good. One of this pepper is enough for you to make stew, except you really want it so spicy, then you will need two. So this is doing so well. You can see it's just in a little pot. This one too is chili. I have harvested it this morning. I took quite a lot out of this little plant you're seeing here this morning. This here is rosemary. This rosemary has been taking care of my rosemary needs for the past 2 years. I'm always pruning it down. Sometimes I dry when it gets so bushy, I cut it and dry it and use it like dry leaves, right, like dry spice. This here is kale. This here is kale, and I got 3. There are 3 of these plants here. 3. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So I bundled them together and they've been doing so good for the past 6 months. This you see here has been supplying me with my daily or weekly kale needs. Whenever I need kale, this is where I come to get it. This right here is also a kale plant. This is Spanish kale plant. We're getting into, like I said, we're getting into the hot climate or hot weather or hot season or summer in Florida, and it gets pretty hot here. So these are cool, slightly cool weather plants. You can't really grow them in the full blaze of the Florida sun, so they are coming to the end of their life cycle. Underneath it are some spring onions. I use this for frying, for sauces, adding to my fried eggs. This right here is a habanero plant. This plant is so it's not an ordinary habanero. This is so fragrant. Two of these habanero are enough for me to make my soup or stew. Just two. Very, very spicy, very, very fragrant, very, very tasty. This right here, these are young ginger plants. They are coming up nicely. These are ginger plants that are growing. They are like a month old, 6 weeks old. These tiny ginger plants. This tomato, these Sakura tomatoes, I got over 3 large Ziploc bags from this one plant of tomatoes, and it has come to the end of its life cycle. Every plant has life cycle, so this one is one of the cool weather tomatoes. So I had like 2 here. I've taken off the one that was here. I've taken it off because it has come to the end of its life cycle. So this one, by next week, I should be pulling out this. Then when the weather cools down towards the end of the year, we start another cycle of growth. These are water leaves and a pineapple plant. This is green amaranth. This one too is getting to the end of its life cycle. So when the weather cools down a little, I start growing fresh ones. I have quite a collection of the seed, both the red type and this one. This right here is pimento peppers. It's called pimento peppers. It gets quite large and red, and this pepper flourishes so much in the hot Florida sun. So it's just picking up. It will go. The one I grew last year was so huge, like a shrub, and it was supplying me. In fact, one plant, just one, supplied me all my pepper needs for over the period of 6 months. Just one plant. Yeah, this is my water leaf patch. I call it a patch because I had a garden. Half of this place, you see all these things were filled with water leaves. So it was a struggle to keep up with using them. So I had to take most of them out so I could have space to grow other things. This is my salad tomatoes. This is ripening, and the tomato tree is coming to the end of its life cycle. Like I said, when the weather heats up in Florida, you can't grow any of this plant until the weather cools down towards the end of the year. So by the time I finish this harvest, this tomato will be rested. I'll take it off. This is my cassava plant or yucca. Just one stand. I got it from the farmer's market. Just one stem and stuck it here. It is doing so good and doing so well. This right here is my sugarcane plant. This is my sugarcane plant. I've had quite a large harvest. I've harvested quite a couple. This is in the last few months of sugarcane. This is my scent leaves bush. Everything started from here. Then with time, I kept spreading them out. So I caught the stems stick in other parts of the backyard, and they're all doing good. And most of the time, because I can't get to eat them all the time. So I cut them and compost the leaves and add it as manure to the soil. This is pineapple being baked in the Florida sun. Like I said, the moment the heat season begins, most plants don't receive mercy from the sun. It's pretty hot in Florida. Yeah, I removed the last Cherokee purple tomato I had. It was here. I took it off last week. This is another scent leaf. This is the third, in fact the fourth scent leaf. This is the other end of the garden. This right here is another bitter leaf. See how big and grown, almost like a tree it is. So I'm going to prune it down and compost the leaves. When I want to use, I'll take the one I want to use and wash, but it grows so fast and grows so well here. This is another sugarcane plant. We harvested quite a lot here. My people love sugarcane, so I try to stick it once in a while in the ground to, you know. This is another sugarcane plant. I'll finish harvesting the one at this spot. So this right here is scent leaves, 2 scent leaves, the third one, and then you can see that most of them is grown quite matured. So what I do is that I leave the bees, you know, bees come to feed on the flower. So oftentimes I just let it be for their feeding. You know, we have to help the environment, so I just let it in the evening. Now you see bees, they come in the morning, you see them just sucking and getting fed. Somebody has to feed the animals, right? And here, you know, people buy even feeding racks for birds, you know, and just keep in the compound, so that birds, as they fly around, they could, if they are thirsty, they could take some water. Yeah, so this is what I leave here. I don't use scent leaves all the time, but whenever I need, it's right here. And this is, like I said, this is a very, very, very medicinal plant. It's very good, detoxifies. It helps in, you could juice it, you could use it to make chicken soup for cold, if you have cold. And even the stick, you could use the stems are also good if you have need for using the Nigerian chewing stick or the African chewing stick. The stick of this is also very, very good. You can see what I said. I don't know if you can see the bee. Can you see the bee? Can you see the bee? Can you see one of the bees flying? So if you come here in the evenings, there are so many, you know, just feeding and being happy with themselves. So that's it. So this is the second view of the other end of the garden. So this is another one feeding here. So they come here to feed. Yeah.